Alright, got another game here. This time it's Nin versus Crovax. Sending hero. You don't see him too often, actually. There's obviously way better white commanders. Though I suppose if you're playing a token-based deck or something, he's good. Although I think maybe Mikius the Lunarch is probably superior if you are playing a token-based deck, because you can cast him cheap. I'm a big fan of cheap commanders rather than ones that cost 6. Because in order to take advantage of a 6-mana guy, you have to, gotta open with that. Freaking Soul Ring. Every game. I don't know, I whine about this card too much, considering that I use it too. But I'm completely confident that in a format without Soul Ring, my deck gets considerably stronger relative to the opposition, because almost all the games where I have trouble, especially with Nin and other control-based decks, is because my opponents get a super acceleration off of Soul Ring. Anyway, it's so absurd that this card is legal and cards like Primeval Titan are banned. It's just ridiculous. Alright, so other than red mana, we're looking pretty good, but I've got Impulse here. I'm definitely just sitting on Counterspell here. 5 mana. He casts Nightmare card number 1. Yep, that pretty much gets counterspelled automatically. This is one of the strongest cards in the whole format against Nin. I've had to face it a few times, and God, it is a nightmare to deal with. There have actually been games where I've literally just let him draw a million cards off of it, figuring they're going to draw a ton of cards anyway. At least I get cards too, right? Alright, there's some red mana. Or we're just going to chill because his next play might be equally bad. It's just Imperial Angel, which I don't care about, given that I've got Rolling Earthquake and Flame Tongue Kavu. So it's just a matter of time. I actually was really thinking about impulsing into, hoping to get Mystical Tutor or something so that I could Vandal Blast. And off the top, oh yeah, that's right. I see Mystical Tutor, so I'm looking at that thinking, well, Mystical Tutor does get Vandal Blast, and he's got a lot of nasty stuff in play. You all know how much I love Tezzeret, and he's certainly the cornerstone of this deck. But at the same time, I really just need mana here. Mana allows me to eventually set up a Quake, followed by Jace, and he'd be pretty crippled by that. So, regretfully, I've got to throw both of these away. Makes me sad. Tomb away, and I get to untap, and top deck Vandal Blast. So amazing. Sometimes you just get lucky, right? Blast. Yeah. That's right, dude. You only deserve to have 3 mana. Not 6. I love it. He has to play Secluded Step now. No cycling for you. And he plays this goddamn card. Now I feel a lot less smug with my Vandal Blast in the graveyard. Oi. This card kicks my ass. So brutal. I have so few outs against it, actually. It's definitely one of the hardest things to deal with. And I think Nate was observing this game and started talking all about Ingot Chewer. I don't think I'm ever going to play with Ingot Chewer, but anyway. Sword of Fire and Ice is a huge pain in the ass. So first things first, got to remove his creatures, and we'll play that guy. At least, if he plays something, he only has 1 card in hand, so it's very unlikely he can play a guy and immediately equip it, which means that I can play Jace and bounce, and probably just continually chain bounce, or just Flame Tongue Kabu, the thing he plays. Sure enough, he just has a Factory, long-term threat, but certainly not a threat right now. Amnesia, which could be good later game, but irrelevant right now. I'm just going to say go. Fuck. Keldorn Outpost. Might as well draw the thing that gives you infinite tokens to equip, and I can't counter it. Pretty sweet. So now we are desperately seeking Wasteland, or Snapcaster Mage. But that's what Nin the Pain Artist is for. Ooh, a Suicide for 5. Boom. And I get a whole bunch of crap. Mana and a Counterflux, which does nothing. So here I am now. I'm certainly facing an equipped Outpost token, and I'm at 26. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't stop it at all. Very, very awkward situation. So I've got Jace. But all Jace really does is just brainstorm at this point for 4 mana. And he would certainly kill it immediately with 1 attack. But there is something that Jace does, which is this interesting second ability here. Certainly underutilized. +2. And people forget, but you can use this ability on yourself, which actually is pretty awesome. It's sort of like quasi-brainstorm. It's certainly just like scry, right? So it effectively is like +2 scry 1. And that fends off the tokens for at least a little while and kind of keeps him busy. So I see a Shivan Reef, which of course I don't want. So that was awesome. I mean, that was basically like drawing an extra card there, given that I was doomed to draw that next turn. So we're just going to keep him occupied here. Plays more land, bring himself closer to the factory threat, and attacks. And this, in my opinion, is a huge blunder. Like, attacking Jace versus hitting me for 2 damage, or for 3, and dealing 2 to Jace. So he deals 5 collectively and draws a card versus just dealing 3 to Jace. Bad play. I do not agree with that at all. I do not agree with it, Sam. I am. Alright, what are we going to draw here? Bauble. Not ideal. Alright, Fate Sealing again. Awesome. Another land goes away. So I've effectively scryed for 2 there and avoided 2 land. Completely awesome. Alright, so into the breach. We throw down Nin. So now he's faced with 2 quandaries, right? What to do? I mean, of course, this is a no-brainer. Jace draws a max of 3 per 3 in 1 turn. Well, effectively 1 plus 1 card, but draws 3. Nin the Pain Artist, with this much mana in play, draws 10. So yeah, what do you cripple from your opponent? Brainstorm or Brain Geyser? That's pretty easy. But I love the fact that he's got 4 damage here, which makes the attack just way too tempting. So first he taps out. I think in his mind, actually, he was thinking that he could cast Crovax, and then it's academic. Then he can just send this guy at Jace and this guy at me or something, or he can, yeah, I guess attack me with the soldier and kill the Jace that way. But I have counterspells. And look at that. They're both going at Jace. Such an insane blunder. And not even wanting to give him a turn. Thankfully, I've got Reliquary Tower in play and Pact, so I can just tap out without any regard for what he might do next turn. Booyah. Draw 10. Tutor. Problem solved. And I get to keep all the cards, too, with Forbidden in my hand. So beautiful. I also love the fact that the Amnesia might actually come into play here, given that he's going to draw some extra cards off of his Sword of Fire and Ice now. He just says, done. Probably planning to just pump out more guys. Not going to even screw around. I'm just tutoring right now for Cyclonic Rift. This gets the sword out of play. I'm going to kill the outpost also. The Ponder, what did I get there? Yeah, I just shuffled anyway. It was just 3 land. I get a daze. So there's probably some value to rifting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 mana available. But at the same time, I'd kind of like to sack this. And I have Amnesia anyway for whatever he might draw. So I don't really care. The damage doesn't really matter that much because he's white. And by white, I mean he's playing mono white, you know, not the other white. So at the end of turn, I do it. Yeah, it's better anyway. Yeah, I want to just sort of have the luxury of playing my turn and amnesiaing here. And sack my thing. I go get a strip mine to deal with the factory. Draw a crumple. So now we're amnesiaing. Whew. Cycle's Decree of Justice. That's gnarly. So yeah, that would just be GG, given that my Rolling Earthquake is in the graveyard. And I'd be desperately searching for a Snapcaster Mage to survive this. And so I get Eternal Dragon, Sword of Fire and Ice, and False Prophet off the Amnesia. Still very, very nicely done. And thankfully, Flame Tongue Kavu is in hand. A very, very specific situation why I use this card. Situations like that where you need to kill a thing and have a blocker. And there it is right there. How much does that change the math? I mean, I would be forced to like basically chump block with Nin, or maybe just gamble that I would draw the right cards in time before I would die to soldiers. Instead of now taking, you know, a minimum of 6 or 7 damage, I only take a little bit. This guy top decks like a maniac. Draws Sun Titan. I'm just going to force a will that, because I want the mana next turn. I don't want to have to worry about pacting. Daze sucks anyway. Block. Down to 4. Glaciers. Draw Condescend. Nin is back. Top decks raw Crovax. Oh, that's no big deal. I'm just going to get out of the game. Attacks. Block 1. Down to 3. Bribery. Beautiful. Oh yeah. I wish I'd given you a little bit more time here. He basically had like typical gamut of big white creatures, but he didn't have the 5/5 Flying Angel with lifelink. He had this one, so I just took this one instead, given that I'm at 3. Any top decks? Akroma's Vengeance. I like to see like Amnesia follow in my opponent top deck, Sun Titan, and then Akroma's Vengeance right afterward. But I'm playing Nin the Pain Artist, dude. Your spells just don't resolve. That was a hell of a game. I think it was really cool, just like the way I was able to engineer working my way around the outpost plus Sword of Fire and Ice with no real defense against it. Gave my opponent the choice between Jace and Nin. Got him to get interested enough in Jace to allow me to get a Nin activation off, which sealed the game up. But very, very cool, close game. Really just hinged on a couple of specific plays. Glad I was able to pull it out, and hope you enjoyed it. More games to come. See you soon.